So in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to use the fill function in Autodesk Sketchbook. So click on the paint bucket icon, and starting from the left you have the solid fill function, the linear fill function, the radial fill function, and this lever here lets you toggle up and down the tolerance level. And you can choose to sample one or multiple layers, and you have a reverse button as well. And I'll show you what all of those mean. Now let's start off with the solid fill function. So now I'm going to draw two circles with solid black lines. And on the same layer, I'm going to fill the background with a solid color that I pick from the color palette. So now my background is solid orange. Notice how the color orange stays outside the two circles? Now I want to fill the first circle on the left a solid green, and the second circle a solid blue. So remember, always make sure you have solid lines to confine colors to their designated spaces. Now let's see what a linear fill looks like, which allows you to fill a space with color gradients. So by default, you have 3 points to control your color gradient. And you can move any of these points up, down, left, right. And if 3 points are not enough for you, you can add as many points as you want along the same line. Just click on the line where you want to add the new point. And now you must be wondering, how do I get rid of points that I don't want anymore? You just click on that point, hold, and then drag it away from the line. So what do I do if I want to change the gradient color? You click on the point, which draws out the color palette. So now I'm changing the color of the second point from the left to a blue color. And now moving on to the third point from the left. So now I managed to change from a pink gradient background to a blue gradient background. Now let's try filling the circles with linear fill as well. One thing to note is that unlike the solid fill, if you're using linear or radial fill, you're only able to change the fill color after the space has been filled. Now let's try filling the second circle with radial fill. So radial fill gives you a more realistic 3D effect because of the circular gradients. So my circle now looks like a 3D sphere rather than a 2D circle. Now I'm showing you what the reverse function does. So it's made to flip the color sequence if you're using linear or radial fill. Now I'm going to show you how tolerance works when you're using the fill function. Say you have a background with a color gradient like this one. And you draw two circles over the same layer. So as I've explained in my cropping tutorial, low tolerance means more sensitive and vice versa. Now let's see what happens when I try to fill the left circle with a low tolerance level. See that only a tiny bit of the circle was filled. Now what happens when I increase the tolerance level? A bigger part of the circle gets filled. So basically, you keep increasing the tolerance level to a point that it doesn't recognize a difference in color tone in the background and your designated space gets filled. So previously I was using solid fill. Now I'm just showing that linear and gradient fill work on the same principle as well. Now in this last example, I'll be showing what sampling layers mean. First, you need overlapping objects drawn on separate layers. So my setting now is set at sample 1 layer. And I want to fill my circle orange. And now I have a full orange circle. What happens when I change to sample all layers and click on the circle the same way as before? Only the top part of the circle gets filled because when you sample all layers, the fill tool looks at all the objects as a whole drawing and disregards the presence of layers. Now I'm going to color the rectangle using the same concept. Now I hope you understand how to use the fill function by now. Thanks for watching and please subscribe.